Hello, I'm John Sautter, coming to you from in front of the Purdue Memorial Union. Today we're going to take a short little tour around first floor to kind of give you some memories and remind you of some times that you've had at the Union building. This is part of a series that we're starting, Facebook Live, and we're going to see if there's anybody out there listening, for one thing, but then we'll see if this is worth doing, and we may do this periodically during the summer. So right now we're battling noise from State Street, which is right behind April, who's bringing this to you with the technology, as well as an overhead worker who's doing some work on the windows here in the Union building. But we wanted to make sure we gave you a view of the outside of the facility. Many of you recall this building. Opened up in 1924 through private fundraising. Pond and Pond were the architects, and we're going to talk more about them in a minute. They're the folks that gave this unique look to it. So we're going to walk up the steps through the front door, the same front doors that Christmas tree comes in every year. You may recall that also. So here we go inside the Purdue Memorial Union building. Come on along. Here we go. Go in. Sorry about my back. Now we're entering the Great Hall of the Union building. Pond and Pond, again, were the architects of the facility, and I wanted to quote something from their original program statement. They said, quote, "Psychology teaches us that a refined, restored, and noble architectural beauty will uplift the emotional life," which is why they put so much time and attention into the architectural detail of the building. Not like a lot of modern buildings where you don't have that takeaway feeling. The Union building is one of the buildings that alumni come back to on a regular basis just because of the feel that this grand old facility does offer. Pond and Pond were the architects. They were an architectural firm out of Chicago. They made their name originally after the Chicago fire, with a lot of the reconstruction taking place. They decided to specialize in Union buildings, and so if you see the front of our building that we just did, as well as that at Michigan and Michigan State and Kansas, a lot of similarities from the outdoor appearance of those particular facilities. 1924 and earlier than that, 1924 is when we opened. Prior to that, the students at Purdue and faculty and staff, they wanted a place where they could all get together during the day. Most campuses still today have student activity centers, but at Purdue they wanted it to be a little bit more than that. They wanted a memorial union, and so they did. The Memorial Union is dedicated to students who die in the service of their country. And in World War I, there were 67 Purdue students who died in World War I. And that's the original dedication for this facility. And so we have a cross. We'll walk up the steps and see the cross that's in the Great Hall. The cross that's roped off is dedicated to those students who gave up their life in the service of their country. We continue the tradition by having plaques all around the Great Hall with the names of all of the students. And so World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and a variety of plaques often referred to now as global conflicts, since we have a variety around the world. And the plaques are updated as of about 2 years ago or so. So Veterans Day on the Purdue campus in this building is a very, very special time and location. We're now in the Great Hall.
Sorry, we had a technical difficulty.
Okay.
It lost connection,
Okay.
but now we're good.
We're back on the air. Sorry about that. In the Great Hall, Pond and Pond, the architects, had in mind that the large solid columns and the plain but beautiful interior would symbolize the ruggedness, the sincerity, and the individualism of the Purdue student. So the columns, you see the simple but rugged columns, and the feel that it brings to this grand old location on campus. And then we'll soon get to the windows, and with the windows you notice the upswept arch. Quoting again from the program document, the upswept arches of windows symbolize the youth and the spirit of the Memorial Union. The multi-window panes symbolizing of students of all races within its walls, end quote. So a lot of time and attention again to the details. The Great Hall probably is known for several things. One is that we have our 11 presidents. We have our 12th right now, but our 11 former presidents have their bus situated around the side of the Great Hall. And starting with Richard Owen, all the way up to France Cordova and those in between, we see the presidents noted. We do note that Edward Elliot in the corner seems to have been one of the more popular presidents. And we say that just because if you look at his nose, it looks like the students and a lot of visitors have rubbed the nose of Edward Elliot, which we will too. We need some luck today. And so Edward C. Elliot apparently is the popular because of that. But then Art Hansen, and then Steve Beering, Martin Jischke, and some of the other presidents are located here, a nice tribute to the 12 presidents. And Purdue's only had 12 presidents in 147 years, and that's quite an accomplishment also. To our right then, as we're walking past it, we're going to pan and have a look at the map that's in the middle. Many of you remember the map. The map, perhaps, is the most popular place to meet on campus. Meet you at the map in the Great Hall. Meet you at the map in the Union Building. Everybody kind of knows where that is. A lot of admission tours actually start from the map. The map is updated on a regular basis, and we can tell you now, if you look closely, it's updated as of this coming fall of 2017, because some of the buildings that will open this fall are actually already on the map. So it's just a great spot to come and get a pretty good feel for the campus and its size and that sort of thing. So now we're going to walk down the hallway slowly and have a look at some of the other interesting parts about the Union. Many of these you might have walked by every day yourself as you were here as a student or maybe even a staff member and not even had a thought about perhaps the use or what it's there for really. And so for the first example would be right across the hallway. We see the barred windows. We used to have quite a few barred windows here in this location. This was the check cashing service. So when mom and dad sent you your money, your check to pay your school expenses or for whatever, this is where you would come on campus to cash that check. Now we have ATM machines located here. So this is gives you a pretty good idea of how times have changed for our students and for the use of the building. A little farther down on the right, we have room 118. Again, many of you have probably walked right by 118. Right now it's used as a lounge. It does have a functioning fireplace in the Christmas, around the holiday time. It provides a nice atmosphere for study. Originally, this was actually the men's lounge when the building opened back in 1924. Men's lounge, which here the women's lounge was right above it. We didn't want the two mixing, you know, and so we had separate lounges for each, which is why the restrooms are located where they are, that sort of thing. The use is turned over many times. Now I want to call your attention to this board. This focuses on the Student Union Board. The Student Union Board is still the group of students that bring the Union Building to life every year. They have all the variety of activities taking place in the building. They list their officers across here. Maybe some of you were an officer in PSA, but they still sponsor homecoming and Parents Weekend and some of the traditional activities, but now they've branched out also to just do a wide variety of activities. So PSA, we like those PSA people. So we appreciate that. They got a lot of their beginnings right here on campus. Next to it, we have this huge bronze plaque. And I suspect you've walked by this many, many times on this main floor. And it says across the top, Purdue Memorial Union, Life Members. And folks never really quite know what that Life Members means. These are actually the people who gave at least $100 or more towards the construction of the original Union Building. $100 then is about $1,200 today. So they actually did make a sizable contribution to get the Union started in 1924. Now the Union Building has actually been added on to 5 times. They added the hotel in 1929. We have 192 rooms in our hotel. So it's a sizable Union operation. As a matter of fact, we're the second largest Union building in the country based on square footage. So it's a large, large operation. Started in 1924. These are the people that made it possible. I'd like to call your attention to one particular graduate, one particular name. If we go over, second count, work our way down. K.M. Feustel. You might notice that name. That's the great uncle of Drew Feustel, one of our current astronauts. Interestingly enough, I talked to Drew Feustel over the weekend and they're outside Moscow, Russia right now, as he's getting trained to go up, and he will be the commander of the International Space Station in 2018. So the Purdue roots come way back, way back, as we know they do for a lot of our graduates. Now across the hallway on the wall here, we have a display of all of our former presidents. So the presidents with their likenesses on display, as well as John Purdue, and there's a quote that the president has chosen to give us that kind of captures their particular time on campus. And so it's a great way, with the years listed, to pick up on Purdue history and pick up on the president who was there during your time on campus, all available for you. Walking down the east end of the hallway, now we're getting towards the east end, and we're going to go into what is now the Visitors Information Center. But originally this was the browsing room back in the 20s and 30s. The browsing room is a place where the students could actually stop and take a book off the shelf and wind up the Victrola and listen to music. So let's go in for a second and look at some of the spots. They've actually maintained one of the rooms here. We'll want to show you this particular one. Just to give you an idea of how the books were labeled and that sort of thing. As we walk in here, you can see these are the original markings up on the shelves: fiction, travel essays, international policy and sociology. So the room back then, it was surrounded with these bookshelves and books available that the students could just walk up to and grab a hold of the book and read during classes or during breaks, during lunchtime, that sort of thing. Now it's our Visitors Information Center. This is where a lot of admission tours come. First-time visitors to campus come in here and get a feel for the campus and what's going on. They have a nice interactive map for figuring out their way across campus, that sort of thing. Now we're going to head across the hallway. We're starting to wrap up now. We're going to head across the hallway, and this is our brand new space that we in the Alumni Association are very proud of. This is Boilermaker Station, which just opened up just a few weeks ago. And this is space now back in the Memorial Union building, where alumni and visitors and who's ever on campus at events can actually stop in and charge their phone for one thing, but actually renew their acquaintance with Purdue, leave the word with some of the stories of things they were doing when they were on campus,